Hello everyone and welcome back to Know Nothing Garage. This is my furnace. It's always on. Sorry for the noise. So today we are going to start part one of improving garage organization. I'm very excited about this. There's been a few improvements coming and we've talked about those a little bit, but today I actually get to start some of it. So I'm very excited. The reason that we are doing some of this is because I really don't have that much storage for stuff. Let me show you. You can see over here, we really just have one shelf and a lot of stuff on the ground. This type of stuff probably won't be able to go on shelves, but either way, it'll help with some organization. Some of this has come along because I have just gotten more stuff as well. Always fun to get more stuff, not. So the reason is, I'll give you a little bit of backstory. My grandpa passed away a few years ago, and then just a few weeks ago during this whole quarantine thing, my grandma actually passed away as well. And so over the last few weeks, my parents have been trying to go through stuff and just figure out what needs to go where. And so with that, I inherited a few older tools and random things that were my grandfather's, which has led to me needing slightly more space in the garage. The other reason is because I've mentioned before, but our family is growing. So my wife is 36 weeks pregnant today as I'm filming this, which means we are obviously just gonna get more stuff naturally for our first child. So we're gonna need some stuff or a place to put some of this. And then the last reason is we are currently in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, as you guys know. And we keep supplies on hand, but I think this has definitely been a reason to kind of evaluate what we do have and realize, like, if anything ever happens again, we should probably keep more stuff on hand in the future. We're not gonna hoard. We're not going out right now during the middle of this and buying anything. This is definitely in the future. But having a full extra, Costco size roll of toilet paper and maybe cleaning products and definitely some cans of food and other things like that. We need a place to put that. So with that being said, the first part of this project is two Amazon Basics shelves. So these shelves are dimensionally smaller. And one of the reasons for that is we want to still be able to open up the car doors without too much issue. And right now, as you can see, we have a good amount of space. And even with the shelves, you can see here, that's the door all the way open, so you can see it doesn't line up with the shelf, but the door on its first click is pretty darn close. So we didn't want to get shelves that were too deep, otherwise we just wouldn't be able to open the car doors in here very easily. And we definitely want to be able to do that. I'll probably end up putting some type of like rubber bumper on the fronts of the shelves or something, just in case, so we don't bump it. But yeah, I'm going to kind of back this car halfway out and we will start building some shelves. Okay, so real fast, there's some things that I want to show you guys that's really cool about these shelves. One is that they're cheap. Two is that they go together very easily and very quick. And so one thing that's important, Amazon sells these in two different configurations, one with wheels and one without. They are the exact same price, and these ones come with the feet anyways. So I would suggest you just buying the ones with wheels because you don't have to put them on. and you could have these shelves set up, and then maybe you realize that you kind of want to be able to roll them out of the way. So then you can just quickly add on the wheels later. So I bought the ones with the wheels because I want the wheels on. One of the reasons is because I want a little extra height. So when setting up your first shelf, like the first rack, the lowest one, you know, the picture of these shows it very low. You don't have to do that. So what I'm going to do is actually measure how tall I want it, and then I have those storage containers, and I'm gonna want my bottom shelf to be tall enough to fit one of those underneath it. So that's how I'm going to base the first rack. And keep that in mind when you're putting these together, of what are you gonna be putting on it, and if you actually have that thing available, use it, or at least use the measurements so that you know exactly where to put your shelves, so you don't have to redo it after you build it once. Okay, so as you can see, I got the first one done. It definitely is a little tricky right off the bat, just because it wanted to kind of wiggle. One thing I would suggest is using a mallet to kind of pop these down into place. But other than that, it's pretty much just that easy. There's not a lot to do. So. Okay guys, so you can see that I just got the first rack built. It's not too bad. As you can see, you can kind of compare the height. So it is about a full shelf shorter than this one that I have. But I mean, the nice thing is we can put stuff on top. It'll be easy for my wife to get things off of it. Obviously, she can't even reach up there. So that can be more things that we're not really gonna use ever, hardly at all. This is gonna be more stuff that gets used all the time, or at least more frequently. So these pressure fit clamps, they're not super great. They basically just slip into these little notches. So sometimes when you try and push the rack down, it slips off. So you'll see in the video, in the time lapse, a couple times I actually pulled out a clamp and I just clamped it underneath it and then hammered it down, and that seemed to work really well. It just kind of prevented it from slipping, so that's something to keep in mind. These wire racks are the cheapest that Amazon sells. This rack I believe was $49.99. Like I said, and that's with the wheeled version. You can get it either way, but it's the same price. I didn't want to get plastic because I know plastic tends to sag after a long period of time, and they just kind of wear out, whereas a metal rack, even a cheap metal rack, should last a lot longer. I definitely prefer this style where it slips in. I'm sure that this thing holds infinitely more weight. It does have wood shelves, but this style will last forever. But I have used these in the past and they work well. Like I said, you just kind of have to know the trick of being able to keep these things from sliding. So that is one done, but we do have another one. So let me put that together, but I really don't want to spend the same amount of time putting it together. So I'm going to try a trick I've seen people use in the past. I have never tried it, but we are going to see if it works. So 1, 2, 3. Wow, Okay, well that worked pretty well. Got 2 racks here now, completely built. Yeah, in all honesty, the second one went easier than the first. Obviously, hopefully you're always learning something as you go along, so I kind of used those same tricks in the first rack to build the second one. It was great, but now comes the fun part, which is actually getting stuff on them and organizing them. That's always a good time. So let's see if maybe we can speed that process up as well. I'm looking at them. I kind of need a little bit of all this stuff out of the way. Not even all this is gonna go on the racks, but I just kind of don't need it here anymore. So let's see what we can do. Okay, so I've started to put some things on here. This is about actually all we have for now. More organization to be done. The main thing I actually did was move a bunch of tools, my shop vac, other things like that, power washer, over to this one. And so that's helped clean up a lot of space. So now these, because they can handle a lighter weight, like I said, we'll have a lot of normal household supplies that fill this one, probably some more garage-ish supplies that fill this one, and then maybe more tools, some things that we don't use quite as often on this one. Okay, so I wanted to show you one thing that's important, especially if you have little children or anything. These racks aren't super crazy stable. Honestly, even this big one could be pulled over pretty easy. So one thing that Amazon supplies with these are kind of like a wall anchor you can put in the wall and secure it so it doesn't tip over. The problem though with that is that they used a closed system. It was basically just a loop, and I can show you here really fast. Basically all they provided you with was this bracket, so you drill this into your stud and then just put like a heavy-duty zip tie through it, which would be enough to prevent it from tipping. But the problem is once you close that zip tie, you can't open it again. And one of the advantages of these shelves is that they have wheels. So what I did instead was I took some eye hooks like this and I just spread them apart a little bit, and put them into the stud, and then used the same zip ties that they provided. And so that way we could take these off if we want to. So this is the solution that I came up with, of still zip tying this, but I can actually unhook it from here if I need to roll these around. So this is important because, like I said, these racks could try and fall over, and that's just kind of one easy way to help prevent them from falling over. There's definitely more garage organization to be done, and there is definitely more coming. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.